see what you got there. That'll come in handy. So, Merry Christmas.
Thanks, man. Did you see my only hams?
I like it.
Did you see it?
Oh, no, I didn't. See it.
I made a post. Subscribe to my only hams. Link in bio.
Did you see how many people put the link?
I didn't see how many. I didn't put a link in there. I just opted my bio. There's not actually a link here.
Well, you heard it here first. Joel's only hams is coming.
Subscribe to my only hams.
Oh shit.
Hi, I'm Joel the Butcher, and today we're making a glazed ham just for you, just in time for Christmas. So here we have our centerpiece for today. What we're doing is, this is a already pre-smoked ham. This one has been triple smoked by myself, yours truly at the shop. So step one, make sure it's nice and solid, which it already is. That's a given. So what we're doing essentially is we want to peel this rind all the way back. We want to get our thumb in underneath the rind. So basically we're fingering the ham. We want to slide that underneath and just peel it back. So coming into the corner here, we can already see there's a small little seam. With our biggest knife that we can possibly find, we just want to release that corner piece right there, just so it starts to peel away. Remember, we're just taking off the rind. We don't want to take off any of the fat. We want all that fat to stay on top. So once we've released that first little corner, you can see it's starting to peel underneath. So if we get our thumb in, working the way down and peeling that away, it should come away very, very easily. Remember, we want to keep all this beautiful porky goodness, all that fat on the top. So once we've released a good amount of that rind, that skin, we can really start to pull it all the way off. Mind out the gutter, it's rind. Same again on the back, it's going to be a little bit harder, and this is the bottom of this one's going into the bottom of the tray, so we can actually come in and cut most of that off as well. Doesn't need to be as pretty, that top section, that's our masterpiece, that's our canvas there, that's the part that we're trying to make look good. So once we've got the rind off, this bit's the easy part. So we want to make small incisions. Now we're only going a couple mil, we're going 2-3 mil max. We don't want to cut into the meat, we just want to break into the fat. So with our humongous knife, just small crisscross. The pattern that we're looking for is almost like a checkerboard. So long, straight incisions just into the fat. Use the length of the blade and just roll it back and forward so that we're ending up with nice straight cuts. Now I'm not putting any pressure in there. With a sharp knife and the soft fat, it should just break straight through. So once we've got our first lines marked out, we're gonna go back. So we end up with our nice crisscross pattern. So once we've got our beautiful, beautiful chessboard looking ham, we've scored it, it's nice and deep. Just through the fat, we're going to take some brown sugar. Apologies that I don't have the classic barbecue black latex. But we're going to take some brown sugar and we just want to rub it in all over the top. So what that's going to do, as soon as we put it into the barbecue or into the smoker, that's really going to caramelize, go really, really sticky. It's going to give it a nice, real golden flavor. It's going to give it a really nice profile, flavor profile to it, with that saltiness from the ham and that sweetness from the sugar. Okay, so the next part that we do is the most intricate bit. This time, this bit is a little bit time-staking. So what we're taking is these little whole cloves, and in the middle of each square, we're going to put one clove. It does take time, but trust me, the look that you're going for just absolutely sets it off. So that part takes time, but trust me, it's worth it. We can see the sugar now starting to dissolve and starting to soak in, and already it's starting to look a little bit more Christmassy than the sort of normal smoked ham that we had before. All right, so what we're working with, we need a deep pan, ham in the pan, and then we get some OJ, and we want maybe a couple of inches just in the bottom of the pan, maybe 1/3 of the way full. So once we got that in, we're gonna wrap it up, and then we're gonna put it straight into the Weber. So once we've got our Christmas package all wrapped up, we're going into the Weber. And we want to offset it, so we don't want it in direct heat. We don't want it straight underneath our coals. Our coals are just off a little bit to the side. So what we're doing, the meat is already cooked. So what we're essentially doing, we're just gently warming it up. This Weber is sitting at about 120, you could even go for something like 150 degrees. And you want to leave this one in here for about an hour and a half. So while the ham's baking away, what we're going to do is we're going to make up our Christmas glaze. So this was something a little bit different. You've probably seen like orange and honey, or maybe a maple glaze, or maybe like a beer and brown sugar or something like that. This one's something completely different, and trust me, it works. So what I have here is apricot jam, because we want that thick, glutinous sweetness that's really going to thicken up when we glaze our ham. And in this one here, we have Dijon mustard. So what this is, we're working for a sweet and bitter. So that's sort of like the flavors. They're going to complement each other really, really well. So once they're in, mix them all up together, and we're just going to sit them into the Weber and get some heat in there. That's going to help to dissolve the jam and really bind all this together. So once it's all mixed up, just for a couple minutes, we're going to sit it into the direct heat. So after we got our glaze in there for a little bit, we're hoping it's dissolved by now. It's been in there for maybe about 15 minutes. So having a look, and that has reduced down. It's all starting to blend together. And we've got a nice thick glaze there now. So the consistency that we're looking for is something like yogurt. So the glaze is done, it's all blended together, and now for the grand unveiling of our ham. Remember, this is nice and hot. So after about an hour and a half, we can take that off, and that's something like what it should look like. So we can see now all those nice score marks that, even though they were so shallow, now they're really starting to open up. They're starting to look a whole lot deeper, and it's really starting, these cloves in the middle between each little chessboard square is really starting to set it off. We've got that nice mahogany color of the brown sugar, and this is really starting to come together quite nicely. So now we're ready to glaze. What we're doing, we're using a small pastry brush, and we want to get that glaze into each one of these little score marks. So coming in, and we're going to paint all the way across. So once we've got it completely covered with our glaze, we're going to put our lid back on, or put it back into the oven, and we're going to do that every 15 minutes. Set your timer on, just glaze over the top. You'll see it start to pick up a really, really nice color. You're going to smell it. There'll be a delicious aroma in the air, and it's going to start to really, really set off. You get that nice shiny sheen. You want to be doing this about 3 more times. So we've done 3 glazes, 15-minute increments. This ham's looking like it's ready for Christmas. Have a bloody look at that. That thing's gorgeous. So we're gonna leave this to rest for about 15 minutes. It's really hot. So 15 minutes and then we're good to carve. So the ham is done. It's time to carve it. What we're doing, we're going from the thick ends, we want to cut all the way down to our tapered end, making sure we're cutting from left to right so that we're cutting across the grain. We don't want to cut with it, we always want to cut across. So small slivers. Taste test. And that's really good. So we got the bitterness from the Dijon, we got the sweetness from the apricot jam, the saltiness from the ham, and the sweetness from the sugar. And it's almost like that Christmassy taste of the small hint of the cloves that comes through right at the end. I promise you, if you do this, you'll blow Christmas out of the water.